Now, when it comes to philosophy, social thought, and rational thinkers, in most cases, those from African societies have often been overlooked. However, we cannot claim that these social thinkers were completely ineffective in our everyday life. And there's a saying, which I don't know if you're familiar with, and it says, "He who borrows money to build his own house gathers the stone with which to build his own grave." Now, this thing may sound a little bit ironical, but that's actually true. So, we're not saying that you should not borrow money, but what is the purpose for borrowing that money? Like the saying says, "He who borrows money to build his own house gathers the money with which to build his grave." So you know how expensive a house is. Now you are getting a loan to build a house from scratch to finish. It's not just borrowing money to roof, or borrowing money to plaster, or borrowing money to paint, or borrowing money to furnish, but everything, the whole thing from beginning to the end, you are looking for a loan to borrow. Now for me, my advice to you is, if you are taking a loan, now to be on the safe side, do not take a loan if it is over 30% of your monthly earning. So for example, if your salary is 100,000 naira and I need to borrow cash, don't borrow more than 30,000 naira because your salary is 100,000 naira. If you borrow 30,000 naira, it will be easier for you to pay back and still have spare cash left to carry over months. Your salary is 200,000 naira, don't borrow more than 60,000 naira. If you go any further than 60,000 naira, it will be harder for you to pay. And many African societies have suffered from this negligence. Funny thing is, this proverb, which I just spoke about, "He who borrows money to build his house gathers a stone to build his grave," is actually an African proverb, and it's originally originated from the Bakongo people of Central Africa, and they are the ethnic groups that make up modern-day Democratic Republic of Congo, that is Congo Brazzaville, Republic of Gabon, and Northern Angola. Now, many African societies, even Congo itself, from which this saying originated from, have been led into the trap and led into the illusion that without borrowing money, they cannot progress. Now, any nation can develop with or without loan. It's not a must to borrow loan. Now, when many of these nations borrow this loan, some of them borrow loan to pay salary. Like, why are you borrowing money to pay salary of your staff? Especially in Nigeria, where it happens, maybe the economy is going bad and then the greedy oligarchs are not willing to do the needful. They would borrow money from China or from the World Bank or from IMF and use that money to pay salary. So now, when next month comes, what will you do? Borrow money again to pay. And if you keep living from paycheck to paycheck, when are you going to be economically or financially independent? Now, this is not only applicable to the cases of countries, even in your personal life, especially in the US, where many people live on loan and mortgage, student loan and everything, stuff like that, and even credit card. Like, it's a culture there. At least in Africa, I so much thank God that we do not have that culture of credit cards. So if you have the money, you pay. If you don't have the money, you leave it. And then when you live a life of debt, life of indebtedness, you are a perpetual debtor and you will forever remain in trap. That's why societies where borrowing money is a norm, you hardly see people climbing up the social ladder. Example, like Latin America, Africa, and Asia. It's not that people living in these countries are daft, no. But the problem is the people decide to take so much loan and forget that they can develop themselves. So for example, South Korea developed without taking outrageous loans. Singapore did the same. And even if they took loans, I said outrageous, the reason why I use that word. And the difference between taking loan in a minimal scale and taking loan every simple opportunity you get. So if Africa wants to develop, they need to change their perception of finances and how to procure this money, because it's not a must that the IMF give you money for you to develop. You just have to look inward, work, save, and use the money to develop yourself. And again, this is not only about the countries, so it is also about your personal life. So if you're someone that you love growing money a lot, kindly reduce it. And also, there's a saying, another proverb that says, cut your coat according to your size. Now, that being said, it means that you should not live above your means. If your means is $2,000, don't live a life of $4,000. Don't live fake life. Don't live Instagram life. Live your real life. Pursue your basic necessities. And is there any cash left, use that to enjoy the luxury or your leisure or your pleasure. Now, sadly, we have come to the end of this video, and I hope to see you once again. If you enjoy this video, even though it might seem boring or unprofessional, kindly like and subscribe and support me, encourage my efforts. Goodbye. See you next time.